Hello and good morning. It's 55 minutes after 9. Yeah, run a little behind here today. Once again, the computer was not in a cooperative mood today, but I had a little bit of a moment with it. Talked a little sweet nothings, and it ended up working just fine. So sometimes you got to do that on a Thursday. Hello, everyone. I'm Wave Meteorologist Brian Good. Welcome to Storm Talk, where we have a chance to not only talk about the long term, but this time of the year, especially this year in particular, we've had a very busy short term, and that's certainly the case with the outlook today. As we have an active radar now, but as several of you have already noted, it's cloudy out. Yes, and that's important, right? So there's not a lot of fuel, and there's not a lot of wind energy today. So there's not a lot aiming toward a bigger issue that will be at play today, which is good. But I still think we're going to be facing at least some scattering of showers and storms. You guys can always comment on the social media side. Jonathan's on there from Facebook. Hi, Jonathan. Hello to Shonda as well. Good morning. Hello to Mark, watching as well. Would you say crispy? Let's see. There won't be enough forcing to support widespread severe, but that would be south of the parkways. Not necessarily totally agree on that. I'll explain why coming up in just a second. Crispy, we'll come back around. And by the way, it's been noted, and it's not by just one person. I do tend to say a lot. It's a nervous filler when I talk. I've done this whole career. I hate it. I don't notice it when I'm doing it, but I know when watching it back, it is annoying, so I apologize. I did it again. Barack Obama has the same issue, I noticed, because when I listen to his speeches, he does the exact same thing I do. Nah, he probably got it from me, more than likely. Okay, so let's go right into how we're going to play this out. We'll begin with the radar view and get into the hour-by-hour setup today to get your nerves calmed anyway about how today will play out, and then we'll get into how the weekend will certainly evolve. I can tell some gloomy skies over at Starlight, Indiana at the moment. Let me show you. Well, the camera went by real fast. Hold on. Let me see if I can back that. There we go. This is what it looks like over in Starlight, Indiana, where, yeah, you got some light showers moving in. Majority of what you're going to see today is showers. You're going to see an overwhelming radar in a second, but the radar will actually be taming down as we head through the rest of the day today. The main front that is kicking up the severe potential is very, what we call it, diffuse. It's not overly got a kick to it whatsoever. So we're at the mercy of just heating today when it comes to the showers, thunderstorms being generated. And in many cases, we're going to be lacking that heating. So there's not going to be a lot of action out there today. So that's good. So just be weather aware of a downpour at any point, because if they do form, they will not move very much at all. And that can lead to some hefty rain totals, but very, very isolated, localized. That type of setup is referring to as we head throughout the day today. All right, here is the radar, and the last couple of frames are missing. There's a lot of issues, not just us. It's the weather company that runs a lot of our data sources that come in. Sometimes there's a lag in getting our data, especially from radar interpretation, and it doesn't help any that the radar in Louisville about literally 90 seconds ago. It just went offline today. Yeah. Trust me, these things know when I'm about to go on because that's when they all happen. So what we'll do is I'm going to switch to just a general collage of radars in the region. That way you have an idea of what's going on. There you go. See, it looks a little easier. Hopefully we'll get the radar in Louisville back up and running because we need that. But at the moment, it's just general showers kind of drifting over us. A little more modest heating in eastern Kentucky. And really, I think if you're going to get anything that will pop today that would have some lightning with it, it may be more of a kick on heavy rainfall. It would be in the areas that are starting off sunny, obviously. So you're heating up faster than everyone else. But for the rest of us, these clouds, until they thin out a bit more, there's just not a whole lot that's going to change here today. Just spotty downpours. I don't want to spend a ton of time on that because I really don't think it's going to be a huge issue. Here's a wider view of that boundary draped right across near Toronto, Canada, all the way through the Ohio River Valley down into the northeast side of Arkansas. Storm Prediction Center has their outlook about the same. Marginal risk. I think marginal is fair. It fits it. And the reason why it wouldn't be just nothing at all, it's because this time of the year, you've got enough fuel at play as far as moisture goes that if any amount of heating, a couple of hours hitting that, we'll call a typical summertime setup, excuse me, where you get these thunderstorms that can form. They can produce some very heavy rainfall rates and some lightning. Sometimes you can get hail with it, but really the soundings are not overly strong for a damage wind signal or a hail signal today, and certainly not there for a tornado signal. So that's good. We've checked off most of the list. Most of what you're going to see today is what I love to call bumper cars type of thunderstorms where they form and they just kind of feed off the next one and kind of move around. So it's not a setup if you have a storm approaching from the northwest, that means you're done. It could easily fall apart, produce an outflow, and then suddenly the storm redevelops on the southern side of it and can catch you off guard. You're thinking it's going to keep going east, but in fact, it has the illusion when you loop the radar of it drifting south, when in fact, it's just a new cell that has popped up. That's what I mean by bumper cars. They're kind of just bouncing around. All right, don't want to play this up big because it's not going to be a big ordeal today, just an inconvenience for sure for those that have to be out and about. So be careful because rainfall rates will be up there over 1.5 inches per hour if they can be realized. And we've already seen some flash flooding in around western Kentucky close to Paducah already because of that idea. Wider view shows a kind of a gap, pretty obvious gap. This will be in here for tonight. And then here we go with the energy it's rolling in off the Rockies. This is what's going to really kick up the showers and thunderstorms, a little bit more of an aggressive punch to them as we head into Friday and Saturday, and even perhaps Sunday. But right now I'm thinking the Sunday wave will miss us a little more to the south. Each one will get nudged more to the south as it passes on by. So round 1, round 2, then round 3 down to the south. So kind of like an accordion, it'll be stacked up. The first one will be the more of a wider impact one, and that would be tomorrow. That will have the ability to reach more of our counties. So you can already see that we got the enhanced risk out where we're already getting a couple of pockets, a couple of lows in general. They're helping fire up storms there that will train right along the train track. So the train track arrived yesterday in a sort of northeast to southwest. It was slightly tilted, but today it's dramatically leaning right. And then by the time we get to tomorrow, it leans even more to an east-west fashion right across the Ohio Valley. So any locomotive that tracks along that will power right through. And the reason why it has the odd hourglass kind of look to it on sideways is because as they develop, they will actually expand. The cold pull out, they will begin to have a very large Boeing segment for damage and wind potential before they outrun their own thunderstorms. The outflows become what we call outflow dominant. And at that point, when they cold pull out, the force of wind begins to decrease. Not only does that line of wind slow down, but the intensity of that wind decreases too. So I really think they're most dangerous that they will be for damage winds will be just moments after they form. Or I think they're going to form somewhere here in West Tennessee into West Kentucky. So roughly the zone from there, I would say through about I-75 is going to be the area to watch where some of the strongest of the wind gusts will take place. This is not a derecho type of thing. This is not a huge outbreak, but it is one that can produce damaging winds and knock some trees down, a lot of lightning as well. I will say the one saving grace about them is they will be moving fast. So I do not see all-day storms in any of the cases I've looked at there's not a repeated round of showers and storms constantly all day. It's a wave of storms, and then the sun probably will come back out again, and that'll buy us some quiet time for a while. And in many cases, we'll be heading into dark when that happens, so we don't have to worry about them redeveloping again into the night. We'll have to wait until the next day for them to charge back up again, and that's exactly how I think this is going to play out with this particular severe threat for both Friday and Saturday. They're afternoon threats, so they need time to charge up, and by the time they pass through, there's not enough time for them to recharge again. So there's some pluses here. The minuses are the idea that we are having this take place when a lot of you will be out at events. We have the super regional at play, and hopefully get into multiple rounds here this weekend. So that's going to lead to more risk of being exposed, especially lightning delays, let alone the chance of some severe weather. So here it is, the risk for Friday. Again, it's a slight risk, roughly along the river and south. That's pretty fair based on how this MCS, this complex of storms, will race along. Now, as I advance this into the threat for Saturday, you'll notice a slight jog here to the south. Still, though, an east-west orientation, just a little bit more of a push. Now, why didn't they take it the marginal down further to south? Well, the reason for that is what I just explained. There will be pockets where you're going to get some of the wind flow some of these MCSs that can expand outflow boundaries further out than the actual parent complex can be. So you could still get damaging winds that will kind of bow out from the complex of storms where the main core of the rain is. You could still reach out. They may not be as strong, but they can easily build to the north. And we see that often in the summertime especially. But in this case, I think that's a classic example of that. And then as we get into, I don't know if did I have Sundays in here? No, I did not. Okay, but Sunday would be even lower than that, but there will be another chance for maybe some gusty storms with another cold front that will drop down at some point on Monday, but we'll worry about that later. So that's your outlook from the Storm Prediction Center, how they stack up for the next couple of days. Again, nothing excessive coming our way, just annoying and bad timing. So let me show you the in-house model or graph model, and I'll get some of your questions here. You can see how the downpours and showers in the area today, more of an issue in West Kentucky where there's more fuel there at the moment. So that's why they're getting majority of your lightning. But by the time we get the sheared off anvil heads, we call that, the stratiform clouds and rain that come off of that, get pulled off like cotton candy, they drift over us just because the flow is not very strong, but it is aiming toward us right up the front. So that actually causes a decrease in your cape, and you end up with this at 7:30 in the afternoon. Not a whole lot to work with here. So future cast shows, not a lot would develop. That's fair. I mean, there are pockets. You can see them there in that gold color, especially in eastern Kentucky. I showed you earlier. It's got sun now. There are pockets. Yes, you can get some redevelopment later. But I think for a lot of you watching, it won't be a bad setup today. As long as we can stay relatively overcast, and I think we will for a while, at a key point of the day that it matters, that will be in our favor to keep things in check. Good? All right. If you get rain today, even say quarter of an inch, tenth of an inch of rainfall, and you do try to clear the sky out tonight, you may end up with some fog developing by early tomorrow. Why is that important? Well, that would add a little bit of an asterisk here on the storm chance for your Friday. If you end up with a foggy start tomorrow morning and that fog begins to lift and disperse, you will then heat up rapidly. We call this differential heating. When this takes place, you don't have to wait for the MCS, which is waiting for us here. It's already starting to, stare us down a little bit here back in Missouri. But in areas where you see the cooling, the lack of cape, that's likely where your fog will be tonight. But the differential heating kicks in. Once you get rid of a cool area because of clouds and fog, and it suddenly is just gone in a matter of, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, it disperses, then the sun angle being as high as it is, you're going to heat that ground up fast. That is what we call differential heating. That could allow for thunderstorms to form a little faster in parts of the I-64 corridor than what you even see here. And this is the MCS already moving in. I mean, they're pretty close together on timing, but I do think there could be two different areas to watch for storms, some that could pop right over us as soon as the fog fades, and then we have the obvious MCS that will come in like a backward C motion right across. It's going to aim more for Kentucky than it will be Indiana, but it will be large enough that it should cross over the Ohio River into southern Indiana. This is where you get some of your straight line winds that will bow out There is, yes, a low-end tornado risk. It's not zero, but this is not a classic tornado type of setup for this type of ordeal. But I do think a burst of wind and lightning. But look at the clock. If this model is right, I'll show you a different view in a second. 2:30 in the afternoon, Super Regionals at 3 for first pitch with Louisville and Miami. So, it's going to be close. I mean, even without severe, it's the lightning is the problem more than anything. And of course, heavy rain, but lightning for sure with everyone at Jim Patterson. So we need to watch that for, again, 2 issues. If there's fog in the morning, be extra aware that thunderstorms could pop on you as soon as that fog disperses. And then 2, the actual MCS moving in itself. And they may only be separated by 60 to 90 minutes at best. Either way, it's going to be a mid-afternoon window. The severe risk goes up. But as I mentioned, these move in. They eat up the Cape like Pac-Man. So because of that, we end up with a calmer rest of the evening into a good chunk of the overnight. So there is a plus to it. It's just that bad timing of mid-afternoon. Once we calm things down, we repeat the same scenario. Fog likely will try to form again. Could even get more of that differential heating as we head into Saturday morning. I think Saturday's first pitch at the Super Regional is 11 a.m. Let's hope we don't have a lot of fog that tries to lift. If so, we could get development right along that area where the fog disperses, and it would be fairly quick too, around midday. I'm thinking right now we need to figure out if there's going to be fog first before we worry about that. Otherwise, the next MCS, charged, ready to go. This one, as you saw in the SPC outlook, with it shifting more south, this MCS will be similar, not idea. We'll be tracking a little more south, but still can produce a wide range on its arc here of strong winds. I know my pen is red, so it's hard to see. Somebody's complaining about it. I know they are. But that strong push of wind could bow out for a damaging wind threats. This time around, it's aiming for about, actually pretty similar time to tomorrow's, right? 4:30. So a mid-afternoon severe risk for damaging winds. This moves fast, moves in, moves on out. And then we end up with just a light rain or just end things altogether as we head into Saturday night and very early on Sunday. All right, let me show you the Horizon model from Climate Vision, a local company here that produces weather models and their own radars, in fact. Maybe we need one of the radars today if ours being down. But this is, I'm only able to show clips of it, so let me get you into a closer view. This is just for Friday. Here's where it has Friday morning, and see what it's doing there. It's sensing that differential heating where the fog disperses, where it tries to pick up a couple downpours, may pop where that fog lifts at around midday on Friday. All right, this is before the games get started. A lot of events get started, but just be aware of that. And here we are at 4 in the afternoon. It's kind of a messy look here to it, but you get the idea. It's an MCS. It's complex. I think if there's going to be any tornado threat, it's probably going to be on the southern side of this, probably a little closer to the Kentucky-Tennessee border there. But I don't want to play that up because it's not high on the list here. There's a lot of what we call just unidirectional shear. The wind, for the most part, is going in the same direction in all layers. So it's the only way you really get tornadoes in these setups is if you get cells that kind of collide into the line, or you get a wiggle into the line. You can get some little spin ups that happen, which are common here, but you don't get your large tornadoes that we have seen as of late. So there is a threat to that. I think the damaging wind threat for sure, lightning, and very heavy rainfall. But this model likes that 4 p.m. timing as well, of it moving into to wave country for the showers and storms. All right, before I get to the extended part of the models, any questions I can get to before we get into the long range and to the 10-day here? Have plans to go to Kaminsky tomorrow. Hi, Mary. I hope you're doing well, by the way, between 10 and 2. At that point, the closer you are to the 10 and 3, excuse me, the closer you are to the 3, you'll be more at risk for the storms than you would be for the 10. The only caution would be just that isolated downpour that could pop when the fog disperses, but I think it's a very high threat for you there, Marianne. I think overall, it's going to be more of your 3 p.m. window you need to watch out for. Graduation party in Brandenburg at 1 o'clock. Just be ready to seek shelter, but you could squeeze it in. You could squeeze it in. I don't know if we get the whole party in. You may be able to say, hey, congratulations, eat some cake and run inside. You may get some of it in, but I would be prepared to move. If you're the host, be ready. As I always say, if you're hosting any event, your responsibility to make sure you have a way to get your guest inside quickly if things do indeed pop fast. Don't wait until the last minute and you're scrambling, chasing down paper plates, and the tent's trying to tilt over on you. The kids are screaming everywhere. You're spilling Kool-Aid all over the place. So there you go. Don't find yourself in that situation. Just know that you need to have a backup plan, but still you can plan to be outside. Fair enough? Good morning from Middletown. Hey, how you doing, Sean? Is everyone hating on me? What is this? Kristen. Quit. Hey, Kristen, I haven't talked to you in a while. How you doing? Quit hating on Brian. Is there someone hating on me? No one ever hates on me. I think I get it. I'm lucky compared to other TV Mets in town. I escape pretty well on that. I don't like drama, guys. I try to stay out of drama, despite what my close friends probably think. I try to stay out of stuff. Let's see. Okay, I think everyone seems all right. Everyone's wanting me to give timing for all their events. That's going to be hard for me to do here, guys. Unfortunately, it's the audio and the radar issue today is kind of slowing me down a little bit. So if you've got anything planned in the evening, your odds are a lot better than if you have something planned mid-afternoon. I will say that, and that's the case for Friday and Saturday. Sunday's chance is there, but it's not as widespread or as intense, so that's good. Okay, so let's get into the setup for next week. I mentioned there is one more front we got to get through. Still some differences on timing on when this will drop down, but I do think this could have enough of a kick to it that we can't rule out some stronger storms. It really will depend on what's happening here in the Gulf states. This is, I know, 3 a.m. Monday. There probably won't be a lot, but if it's, say, earlier in the evening on Monday, and this is very active with showers and storms, that's going to block a lot of your deeper moisture from getting into that front. So that front will struggle to have much to work with, but just beware. It does have more a kick to it being the front, so we need to watch it, but we do not have any alert day or anything like that for that. It will rush in, though, with some cooler air and drier air. I think we could score a good day for Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Thursday, maybe. And then by the time we get into Friday and Saturday, we're going to get back into a little bit more of an unsettled, kind of a messy setup. Nothing very organized because tropical moisture coming into play, coming in from the Gulf. These are your typical pop-up showers and storms here. It looks like a lot of heavy rain. I don't see a heavy rain signal in the extended. We're getting that summer pattern now, where it's just mean your heat of the day storms and not so much all day rain at night, that kind of stuff. So we're slowly trying to shake this and get into a normal pattern. But as I mentioned, whatever day it was, it's been a while now. I think we really are going to have to wait until the 4th of July weekend to see things lock in a bit more on the severe side, or the summer side, sorry. Been saying so much severe lately, it's on my mind. So here's your 10-day, and this is how it stacks as of right now. I'm still working on this. I'll try to get the final version of this wrapped up for midday today. But you can see that we do have, well, you can't see anything because you see me. You can see the alert days that are out just for the afternoon periods, Friday and Saturday both, to account for both complexes of storms. Just be aware that heating from the fog early in the day that could cause an early start in a few cases where that's an issue. Otherwise, the evenings look decent. And then Sunday doesn't look bad. Monday is that front that moves in. So, yeah, I got to spike the chance there just a bit. And then I'll keep us quiet for a few days. And cool, look at that. We may even stay below 80, even with sunshine next week for a few days, with lows perhaps into the 50s. So the cool pattern continues. Even though we've already had our first 90, it's going to be a little bit more of a battle to get up to that level again down the road. All right, guys, appreciate it as always. Thanks for watching. It's another short one today. We'll be back. Well, I'll be back on a midday, and then, of course, I'll be back on tomorrow with the blog. And we'll be obviously real close to the event at that time, so we'll have a much better idea of where things stand on the severe potential and that timing. We'll see if that still holds in 24 hours. I'll be curious to see if that's the case or not. Take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your day.